Lionel Messi. Lionel Andres Messi, born on June 24, 1987, in the bustling industrial city of Rosario, Argentina, is widely regarded as one of the most extraordinary athletes the world has ever seen. His story is one of rare natural talent, relentless dedication, a narrative shaped by immense personal challenges, stunning triumphs, and a lifelong romance with the game of football. His name echoes across stadiums, continents, and cultures, evoking emotions of awe, admiration, and sometimes even reverence. But behind the myth and the countless headlines lies the journey of a boy who simply loved playing football and who, against all odds, rose to the absolute summit of glory. Growing up in a working-class neighborhood of Rosario, Messi was the third of four children to Jorge Messi, a steel factory manager, and Celia Cucitini, who worked in a magnet manufacturing workshop. From his earliest years, Lionel was inseparable from a ball. His grandmother, Celia, played a crucial role in nurturing his budding talent, often accompanying him to matches and encouraging him with unwavering belief. Messi has often spoken about his grandmother's influence, dedicating many of his goals to her memory by pointing to the sky in silent tribute after scoring. It was Celia who recognized the extraordinary spark in young Lionel and who insisted that he be given the chance to play competitively despite his small. At just 5 years old, Messi joined his first team, Guardiola, a local club coached by his father. His size was immediately noticeable. He was much smaller and slighter than the other children, but so was his prodigious skill. He dribbled past players with uncanny ease, demonstrating speed and ball control that seemed almost supernatural. By the time he was 7, he was playing for Newell's Old Boys, a well-respected club in Rosario. Newell's youth teams during Messi's era were famously dubbed the Machine of '87, boasting a stunning record of victories with Messi often the. His dazzling solo runs, sharp turns, and clinical finishes made him a phenomenon in local youth circles. There were already whispers that he was something special, whispers that grew louder with every passing. But at age 11, Messi's dream nearly collapsed. Diagnosed with a growth hormone deficiency, it became clear that Lionel's physical development would be severely hampered without expensive medical treatments involving daily injections. His family, although devoted, could not afford the escalating costs. Local clubs were reluctant to cover the expenses, and Newell's financial support was limited and eventually dried up. It was a dark period, one filled with uncertainty. The Messi family knew they had to find another path if Lionel's talent was to. That lifeline came from Spain. FC Barcelona, one of Europe's most prestigious clubs, learned of the diminutive Argentine boy with magical feet through contacts and videos. In September 2000, Jorge Messi arranged a trial for Lionel at Barcelona's famed La Masia. The story of his trial is now the stuff of legend. After watching him juggle the ball effortlessly and slalom past defenders, Karls Rexach, the club's sporting director, was so convinced of Messi's potential that he rushed to offer a contract, famously writing the initial agreement on a napkin in a rest. There were no formal papers at hand. Barcelona agreed to pay for Messi's medical treatments, and soon after, the Messi family uprooted their lives and moved to Catalonia. La Masia, already known for producing talents like Pep Guardiola and Andres Iniesta, became Lionel's new home. Although the move was difficult emotionally, Messi struggled with homesickness and the cultural transition. His football did the. Despite being smaller and quieter than many of his peers, he quickly distinguished himself with his extraordinary touch, vision, and goal-scoring instincts. coaches, and players alike marveled at his abilities. It was clear to anyone paying attention that a rare talent was blossoming before their eyes. Messi's progression through Barcelona's ranks was swift and spectacular. He made his first team debut on November 16, 2003, in a friendly against Porto, coached by José Mourinho. His competitive debut followed on October 16, 2004, against Espanyol, making him the third youngest player ever to appear for Barcelona at the time. On May 1, 2005, he scored his first senior goal for Barcelona against Albacete, delicately lifting the ball over the onrushing goalkeeper after a sublime pass from Ronaldinho. It was a symbolic moment, a passing of the torch from one magician to the 2005 Euro 6 season saw Messi begin to establish himself as a regular contributor to the first team. However, injury setbacks, including a torn hamstring that ruled him out of the Champions League final victory over Arsenal, temporarily slowed his momentum. Barcelona's faith in him never wavered. Messi was given the famous number 19 shirt and increasingly became a focal point of the team's attack alongside Ronaldinho, Samuel Eto'o, and Deco. His performances in the 2006 Euro 7 season, including a breathtaking solo goal against Getafe that mirrored his iconic 1986 World Cup run against England, announced Messi's arrival as a future superstar. The appointment of Pep Guardiola as Barcelona's head coach in 2008 marked the beginning of the most glorious era in the club's history, and Lionel Messi was its heartbeat. Guardiola famously shifted Messi into a false nine role, allowing him to roam centrally and exploit spaces between defenders, and the result was devastating. Messi's statistics skyrocketed, and Barcelona swept all before them, winning the treble of La Liga, Copa del Rey, and UEFA Champions League in the 2008-09 season. Messi scored in the Champions League final against Manchester United, with capping a campaign that established him as the best player in the world. The individual accolades soon followed. Messi won his first Ballon d'Or in 2009, beating Cristiano Ronaldo and Xavi, and went on to dominate the award for the next 3 years, securing it in 2010, 2011, and 2000. His 2011-12 season remains almost mythical. He scored 73 goals in 60 appearances, breaking Gerd Müller's long-standing record for goals in a European club season. In the process, Messi shattered records for most goals in a calendar year, a mark that had stood since the 19. While his Barcelona career soared, Messi's relationship with the Argentina national team was more complex. Despite starring in youth tournaments, including winning the 2005 FIFA U20 World Cup and an Olympic gold medal at the 2008 Beijing Games, he often struggled to replicate form at the senior international level. The pressure of following in the footsteps of Maradona, Argentina's beloved icon, was immense. Every misstep was magnified. Argentina's early exit from the 2010 World Cup under Maradona's chaotic management, followed by heartbreak in 3 consecutive finals, 2014, 2015 Copa America, and 2016 Copa America Centenario, was emotionally devastating for Messi. After the 2016 final loss to Chile, he tearfully announced his retirement from international football, a decision that sent shockwaves through the footballing world. The outpouring of support that followed convinced him to reverse his decision and throughout these years, Messi continued to redefine excellence at club level. The famous MSN trio Messi, Luis Suarez, and Neymar terrorized defenses across Europe, culminating in a second treble-winning season in 2014-15. Yet cracks began to appear at The club's management under Presidents Sandro Rosell and Josep Maria Bartomeu was increasingly criticized for poor transfer policies, financial mismanagement, and alienating key figures. The humiliating 8-2 defeat to Bayern Munich in the 2020 Champions League, once great empire in decline. In August 2020, Messi dropped a bombshell. He wanted to leave Barcelona. Citing a breach of trust and a desire for a new challenge, he submitted a formal transfer request. However, legal entanglements, specifically a disputed clause in his contract, forced him to stay another. It was a turbulent, bittersweet year that saw Messi continue to deliver individual brilliance amid a crumbling structure. Ultimately, the situation became untenable. In the summer of 2021, Barcelona's dire financial straits, exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, meant they could not register Messi's new contract under La Liga's financial fair play. In a tearful press conference that left fans around the world in disbelief, Messi bid farewell to the club where he had spent over 2 decades. It was an emotional severing, a reminder that even the most legendary stories can end under the cold gaze of financial reality. Messi's next destination was Paris Saint-Germain. The move reunited him with Neymar and placed him alongside Kylian Mbappé, forming an attacking trio of terrifying potential. His debut season in Ligue 1 was one of adjustment. Though he displayed flashes of his genius, he was adapting to a new environment and style of play. However, even at a different club, his class remained undiminished. Messi's passes, goals, and ability to control matches continued to captivate audiences, reminding everyone that greatness transcends club. The zenith of Messi's international career came in December 2022. At the FIFA World Cup in Qatar, Messi led Argentina with the poise and brilliance that had eluded him in previous tournaments. Every game seemed charged with narrative significance. He scored crucial goal chances with breathtaking passes and carried the hopes of a nation desperate to see him crowned champion. The final against France was a match for the ages, a roller coaster of emotions, drama, and stunning moments. Messi scored twice, including a penalty, and converted his spot kick in the nerve-shredding shootout. As Gonzalo Montiel buried the winning penalty, Messi collapsed to the ground. At last, he had achieved what many believed he deserved more than any other player. He was a World Cup winner. Lifting the trophy at Lusail Stadium, smiling through tears, Messi completed his magnum opus. His performance throughout the tournament earned him the Golden Ball as best player, and in the hearts of millions it settled the debate. Messi was not just one of the greatest, he was. Following his World Cup triumph, Lionel Messi's stature in the world of football, already towering, grew into something almost mythological. For many, that golden trophy was the last missing piece in an already legendary career. It was not just a triumph of skill, but of perseverance and emotional maturity. Throughout his journey, Messi had faced criticism, crushing defeats, and unbearable pressure. Yet, he had endured. In winning the World Cup, he had transcended the sport itself, becoming a symbol of beauty, hope, and relentless determination. Returning to Paris after the celebrations in Argentina, Messi was greeted with admiration, but also with the reality that club football demanded a quick return to business. His form for Paris Saint-Germain post-World Cup showed flashes of brilliance, with crucial goals and assists. But it was clear that his priorities were such. For Messi, football had always been about joy and expression. But now, having conquered every summit imaginable, he played with a different kind of freedom, less obsessed with accolades, more focused on savoring every remaining moment of a career that had dazzled the world for nearly 2. The dynamic at PSG was complex. Although Messi remained immensely popular among fans globally, tensions within the club occasionally surfaced. PSG's ultras were notoriously demanding, and some segments expected absolute dominance in Europe, particularly in the UEFA Champions. When PSG failed to achieve continental glory, criticism, often harsh and unfair, was directed even at Messi. Yet through it all, he remained dignified, rarely responding publicly to provocations, always letting his football speak for it. Off the pitch, Messi's influence continued to expand. His brand, built not on flashiness or controversy, but on excellence and humility, attracted partnerships with major global companies. From Adidas to Pepsi, from Lay's to Gatorade, Messi became synonymous with classification and quiet greatness. Unlike many modern celebrities, he shunned the spotlight of sensationalism, preferring a private life centered around his family, his wife, Antonella Roccuzzo, and their 3 children, Tiago, Matteo, and Kiro. Antonella, his childhood sweetheart from Rosario, had been Messi's life, offering the stability and support essential to navigating the stormy seas of fame and expectation. Messi's philanthropic endeavors also flourished. Through the Leo Messi Foundation, he contributed to causes ranging from healthcare initiatives for vulnerable children to educational programs and support for victims of natural disasters. His charity work, often understated, reflected his deeply compassionate, profoundly human, yet free from the need for public adulation. As the 2022-23 season wore on, rumors about Messi's future began to swirl. Would he stay in Paris? Would he return to Barcelona, the club where he had become a global icon? Or would he perhaps seek a new adventure elsewhere? Throughout the speculation, Messi remained characteristically silent, focusing on his performances. Nevertheless, the romantic idea of a return to Barca captivated fans, who dreamt of seeing their hero back in the iconic red and blue jersey, one last dance at Ultimately, in the summer of 2023, Messi made a decision that surprised many. He announced that he would join Inter Miami in Major League Soccer. It was a move that signified a new chapter, one less about competition at the highest European level and more about spreading his love for the game to culture in the United States. David Beckham, the club's co-owner, played a pivotal role in convincing Messi to make the leap, offering him not just a lucrative contract, but a unique opportunity to build his legacy in a different context. His arrival in Miami was nothing short of seismic. Ticket sales skyrocketed, social media exploded, and MLS as a whole experienced an unprecedented surge in global attention. Matches involving Inter Miami sold out within minutes. Crowds flocked not just to see, but to witness an artist, a living legend still capable of producing magic. And Messi did not disappoint. In his debut matches, he produced stunning goals, including a trademark left-footed free-kick winner in his very first game, reminding everyone that even as he approached his mid-30s, his genius remained in. At Inter Miami, Messi's impact went beyond the pitch. He inspired a new generation of young players in North America, elevating the standards of professionalism, training, and ambition. He attended youth clinics, participated in community events, and even subtly influenced the way football was perceived in a country where other sports had long dominated. Soccer, as it is known in the US, was undergoing a renaissance, and Messi was at the heart. As he settled into his American life, Messi continued to be a bridge between cultures. His fan base, already global, grew even more diverse. Spanish-speaking communities in the US embraced him as a hero. Young players across continents now saw his journey from a Rosario to the world's greatest footballer as proof that dreams, no matter how improbable, could come true with passion and perseverance. Meanwhile, back in Argentina, Messi's legacy was solidified in ways that few could have imagined. Streets, stadiums, and even schools were named after him. Murals depicting his World Cup triumph adorn the walls of cities and villages. In Rosario, a statue was erected in his honor, capturing him lifting the World Cup trophy, an image forever etched into the soul of a nation. No longer was Messi merely compared to Maradona. He had carved his own path, distinct and equally. As the years passed, the inevitable questions about Messi's retirement began to surface more frequently. Every match he played was savored, every touch analyzed. Pundits and fans alike understood that they were witnessing the twilight of an era, one that had redefined what was possible on a football pitch. Yet Messi, true to form, refused to be bound by the expectations of age. He continued to weave magic, sometimes in short, sometimes with the sustained brilliance that had characterized his prime years. Messi's style remained distinctive. Unlike some players who reinvented themselves physically to compensate for declining athleticism, Messi relied on his unparalleled understanding of space, timing, and geometry. His vision seemed almost supernatural. He could see passing lanes invisible to others, anticipate movements before they happened, and control the tempo of games with subtle movements. His dribbles, though perhaps slightly less explosive, retained their hypnotic quality. He didn't just beat defenders, he mesmerized. Throughout his career, Messi's rivalry with Cristiano Ronaldo had captivated fans. Their contrasting styles, Messi's ethereal artistry versus Ronaldo's powerful athleticism, fueled debates for over a decade. Yet, as both aged mutual respect, they recognized in each other a shared understanding. The sacrifices made, the pressures endured, the historic standards they had maintained. In interviews, Messi consistently spoke highly of Ronaldo, acknowledging that their rivalry had pushed him to greater. By 2025, Lionel Messi had become not just a sports figure, but a cultural icon akin to Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, and Pelé. His influence extended into art, fashion, music, and cinema. Documentaries chronicled his life and career, not only his footballing feats, but his humility, resilience, and humanity. In a world often obsessed with self-promotion, Messi remained refreshingly authentic. As he approached the age of 38, questions about his farewell grew louder. Would he orchestrate a grand send-off, or would he slip quietly away from the spotlight he had never truly sought? Those close to Messi suggested that he would prefer a modest exit, in line with the understated way he had lived. Perhaps one final match in Rosario, wearing the colors of Newell's Old Boys, fulfilling a childhood dream that had been deferred by destiny. The thought of football without Lionel Messi was almost unimaginable for many. An entire generation had grown up watching him perform miracles. For them, he was the game, the embodiment of its highest possibilities. He had not only broken records, he had broken boundaries of imagination, shown that genius need not be loud, that greatness could be clothed in humility. Reflecting on Messi's career is to reflect on a journey defined not just by triumphs, but by the way he handled them. His ability to stay grounded amidst overwhelming adulation, to remain focused despite monumental distractions, to endure heartbreak and return stronger, these qualities beyond the statistics. They made him not just the best footballer, but also a role model for countless aspiring athletes around the globe. The tapestry of Lionel Messi's life is woven with countless unforgettable moments. The hat-trick against Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu, the 4 goals against Arsenal in the Champions League, the solo runs that left defenders grasping at thin air, the tearful embrace to the World Cup final, the emotional farewell at Camp Nou. Each thread tells a story of passion, perseverance, and unparalleled genius. Yet perhaps Messi's most enduring legacy is the joy he brought to millions. Football, at its heart, is a simple game-won ball, 2 goals, infinite dreams. Messi reminded the world of its beauty, its purity, its power to unite across language, nationality. In a world often divided, he was a universal language, a shared joy. Today, whether playing under the Florida sun, inspiring children in Rosario, or gracing murals in distant cities, Lionel Messi remains a testament to what is possible when talent meets heart. His journey from the narrow streets of Rosario to the grandest stages on earth, timeless reminder that dreams are worth chasing, no matter the obstacles. And so, with every final dribble, every last goal, every wave to the crowd, Messi's story continues to resonate. A story not just of a footballer, but of a boy who dared to dream, and in doing so, gave the world a dream of